Is doing all this overtime really worth it? Or are you just using your time bad? Are you just wasting time doing overtime and you could be putting that time into something else? Or will this overtime really be worth it at the end if you can do something with the money and manage it right? Like, subscribe, and comment. We about to get into it, man. So, what it do, YouTube? It's your boy Trevisionz, and today we're going to talk about, is doing overtime really worth it, or are you wasting your time doing that overtime? So, me personally, I work in construction. I do sheet metal, and I've been doing overtime for 8 months. Now, I'm in the union. I can really just do my 40 hours and then go home. But when they're laying people off, I'll be first to get laid off. And for me, it's not really a big deal because I know how to manage my money. I have at least like 10K saved. So if I do get laid off, I'm fine for it. And I'll find another job. I'm an apprentice that, we're basically like manual labor, low manual labor hires right now because we're apprentice and we don't know anything. But that's just how I think about it. We're apprentices. We're going to get hired first before the journeyman because we're getting paid lower and we can almost do like the manual stuff. We don't know everything like the journeyman, but we can do some things. But yeah, I've been doing overtime for 8 months, 5 10s, 1 8. So I work Monday through Friday, 10 hours, and I work 1 8 Saturday. And also my job site is an hour away. So burnt out, man. I've been burnt out. I'm not gonna lie, I've been burnt out. But I know that if I save this money and do it the right way, when I do leave this job, because this job is not going to be forever. This job is not going to be forever. I'm not going to be here forever. And a lot of people in my trade say this overtime that we're getting like this is not normal. Usually it's 40 hours a week. So knowing that, it's like, yeah, I'm burnt out, but I'm going to use this overtime money and save it correctly. So when I do leave, I have at least like 20,000, 30,000 saved. I'm trying to do it the smart way. Now, if you're doing all that overtime and you're just spending money, you're just throwing the money away, the overtime, I feel like, is not worth it. Or if you want to do something else instead of work 24/7, the overtime is not worth it. When you start to get burnt out, tired, you don't want to move, you don't want to go to work, then I feel like you shouldn't be doing overtime. Now, me, I have no problem taking days off from work. And where I work at, the trades construction, they try to make it seem like a bad thing. But me personally, I don't care what nobody think. If I feel like I'm tired, I'm taking a day off. If I feel like I'm getting burnt out to the point where it's like I can't move, I'm mentally frustrated, physically tired, physically fatigued, I'm taking a day off, bro. Don't let that overtime beat you. You beat that overtime. And what I mean by that is, don't let overtime get to the point where you can't even do anything you want to do that's fun to you or that you want to do. And if you have kids and you can't see your kids because of overtime, bro, then you shouldn't be doing that much overtime. But I do feel like overtime can be worth it to stack up some money right quick. If you really want to run up some money, overtime, the pay is cool, but it gets to a limit. Like, once you do too much overtime, it may get taxed to the point where you ain't making that much because overtime, at least where I'm at, overtime gets taxed a lot. So I'll say overtime is worth it if you can do something with that money. Now, everybody has their own, thing they're going through. Some people have to do overtime. Like, they'll get fired if they have to do overtime. I mean, they'll have to do overtime. And if they don't, then there's a high possibility that they can't work at where they're at. And if you got a job where you have to do overtime, like it's mandatory, I would be looking for a new job immediately, me personally, because having to do overtime mandatory is kind of like you're a slave to working for wherever you work at. So if they're making you do overtime, man, and you like, okay, I'm starting to get burnt out. Leave that job, bro. Find a job where you don't really got to do as much hours. You can make a decent amount of money, and also you can do something on the side, whether that's start a business, maybe even DoorDash, whatever it is. Even with DoorDash, it could be tiring, but you pick your own schedule with DoorDash. You don't got to be there all day DoorDashing. But started in business, whatever it is, starting a YouTube, and you have time now to do those things. Now, I work 10 hours a day. I only get Sunday off. Even on Saturday, I'm working 8 hours. And my commute, that's kind of the biggest thing for me. My commute is an hour there. Driving back is like an hour and 30, hour and 40. The commute, I'm almost spending 3 hours a day in commute alone. So I get off at 4 technically, and I don't get home to 6. To be honest, the 10-hour shifts is not really what's burning me out as much. It's the driving, sitting in traffic. You get tired. Like, anybody knows, if you do long commutes, bro, you sitting in that traffic, and the cars are not moving, and you just looking at cars, and you're like, dang, man, I just drove here in the morning. It was only like 50 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour at most if I'm driving, slow and like driving below the speed limit. But you driving home, bro, you see all those cars just sitting there, and you literally, if you don't have after doing the 10-hour shift, you falling asleep, doing things like that. That's when you know you might need to take a day or two off and get some rest, bro. Get some rest. Because I'm working I wake up at 3 a.m., get ready, leave like at 4, drive an hour to work, get off. So start at 6 a.m., get off at 4 p.m., and then I'm in 2 hours in traffic going home. That schedule right there alone just sounds tiring, but I know that the career I'm in, I have to stick to it if I want to advance, and that's what I'm doing. Also, I'm making a YouTube because, yeah, I like my career. I ain't gonna say I love it. I like doing what I do, but at the end of the day, I ain't trying to do that forever. I ain't trying to be working all this overtime forever. And in general, this is a lot of overtime that we've been doing. So I don't know if I can, do overtime this long. I'm trying to stick through there 8 months, but I may be getting to the point where I have to take Saturdays off and just do 50 hours, which is still cool with me. I'm still going to be getting a decent amount of money, but working every Saturday, I don't know. Now, I do have to go to school once every 2 weeks, and we do get paid, but we don't. It's kind of weird, but if you're in an apprenticeship or you ever been in an apprenticeship, you gotta have school once every 2 weeks, which is cool because the school is closer to me than the actual job site. So going to school is no problem. But yeah, so that's my schedule. That's my overtime, and I feel like overtime it's worth it, but it does get to a point when I get burnt out, like and I get burnt out and I have to take breaks. If you getting burnt out with overtime, bro, take a break. Don't tell them why don't say, oh yeah, I need a day off. I'm burnt out. Nah, you could make like a little excuse, like, I'm sick. I'm not feeling good. Because if you tell them like, oh yeah, I need a mental day, they're gonna be like, yeah, you could have a mental day, but next time you ain't doing that again. Like, don't tell them it's a mental day. Just don't give them a reason to make you feel like, for them to think that you can't handle it or stuff like that. Just tell them it's nothing wrong with stretching the truth a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But overtime, man. If you working overtime and you don't have to, take some breaks, bro. Don't kill yourself for the money, bro. Don't kill yourself for the money. And if do something with that overtime money. Put it into stocks. Put it into some assets. Don't just be out here buying clothes. Don't just be out here buying stuff that you don't really need, bro. And that's one thing I've been doing with my overtime money. I've been saving it because I know that the rainy days do come. I ain't gonna be getting this overtime forever. So I'm trying to use it as a stepping stone for when I do leave and I go to 40 hours, I will have enough money that is piled up, saved. So if I'm not making as much money and I need an emergency or anything like that, oh, it's handled. I don't gotta worry about having to go paycheck for paycheck. That's why overtime could be beneficial. But if you don't do it right, bro, overtime is not worth it if you ain't doing it right. And that's the truth. If you ain't using your money right, overtime is not worth it, bro. You might as well just stop doing it. Because even if you do 40 hours or overtime, you ain't managing your money right. To be honest, managing your money right is the most thing you need to be focusing on. And also your mental first, because overtime can mess up your mental. You might not even be able to work. You might not even be mentally there. Mental, physical, and then money management. And that's the main thing. Those three things you should be focused on. But the two I said first, the main priorities, then money management. Because if your mental and physical not right, you ain't even gonna know how to manage money because your mental ain't right. You might be going out to a strip club or something, just spending money because your mental ain't right. So yeah, man, is the overtime worth it? Yes and no. I'll say yes and no. And I gave a little bit of reasoning why I say yes and no. But yeah. So thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, and comment. This Trevisionz. I'm out, man.